Thanks everyone for joining me. I'm excited to have a chat with Tom, who I think I came across his website just doing a search as I'm always on the internet searching for interesting types of tours, something that goes a little bit more in depth. And Ghosts of the Past came up, which Tom is put together and he's going to share about. So you help people plan their trips to places that are supposedly haunted,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So what first kind of got you into that?
Well,
Where did that come from?
I'm a big history buff, and I feel like history and ghosts go hand in hand. You can't get get. I always say history is filled with ghosts, and
Yes.
yeah, and you can't have and I believe that 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 history is a great teacher, if and and goes out goes out goes out its teachers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. So was it when you were a kid? I know I read a lot of like mystery books. I was like a big Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew fan. So kind of that tie-in with histories and ghosts. Where did you go first? Was it Gettysburg, Savannah? Was there a place that you
Well,
went first?
yeah. Well, when we were younger, my parents always took us to old houses, and that's how we got. I well, I've been to all three places. I've been to Savannah. I've been to Gettysburg, Salem, and Savannah too. Well, yeah.
Which of the three cities are you most drawn to?
Well, I always say that I would love to live in Salem, but like right now I'm thinking about going down south, maybe to Savannah. But Salem is just too cold for me.
Salem's cold. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
true.
yeah.
So when people contact you to put together a trip, are they talking about spending multiple days in these places, or are they just looking at maybe spending a couple days? What kinds of
Uh,
things are they looking for?
they are primarily they are. I can do both. I can do day trips. I can do day trips for the people who live in the city, or I can create a multi-day trip, multi-day itinerary for them.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things around Salem, as we know. I mean, being there on the East Coast, and I'm
Yeah.
sure some of the places to stay in Salem. Have you stayed in Salem and what you would think would be a haunted spot?
Yeah, well, Salem, the Hawthorne Hotel, uh, uh, the uh, the Witch House is another one. The Witch House is another one. Uh, the House of the Seven Gables, of course.
Yeah, those are.
Yeah,
And what about planning for, because for Salem, their biggest, it gets really crazy in October.
yeah, October. Yeah, like I, 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 I would, I would book like I would like, I would. As for me, one time I went up in October.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and it was so crazy. I would never do that again. In fact, I hear that a lot of residents of Salem leave the city in October. They leave the city in October, but it's just too crazy.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
I
too.
and I think for people that really wanted to have, say, an experience or feel the presence
Yeah,
of this past and this history, I would advise not going in October.
yeah, yeah.
Which
It's yeah.
would there be another month that you might suggest that they
Well,
go there?
yeah. Well, March, April was the beginning of the Salem witch hunts. Were the beginning of the Salem witch hunt. Well, October is not really had October really had nothing to do with the Salem witch hunt, but because it's just Halloween now. But
Yeah.
in fact, the Salem witch trial began in like May or April of '69 too.
Oh,
No,
did they?
yeah.
Okay.
So, if you want to get, I would recommend maybe going May. That's when I would usually go May or April.
That would be a good time. And like you said, that tie in with the history, I think would be good too. You might sense more happening then
Yeah,
because, and it's quieter going
yeah,
out maybe in the evening or weekdays, definitely
yeah.
quieter.
But I would definitely recommend definitely recommend staying away from. Well, some people enjoy the crowd, but like it's just too crowded in October. But everyone wants to go. Everyone wants to be up in Salem in October for Halloween. Like,
Yeah, I know. And they do decorate, but I found the same thing. You really got to plan ahead. I mean,
yeah,
weekends in Salem in October, just from experience, it can just be bumper to bumper traffic, no
exactly.
place to park. Yeah. So tell me about Gettysburg, because honestly, I have not personally been to Gettysburg, but that is a lot of history there.
Gettysburg, well, I've been there a while ago, but Gettysburg is a very interesting place because it's 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 the Battle of Gettysburg. It's and it's supposed to be really haunted because of all the casualties and that, and like the first woman the only woman who got killed in Gettysburg, that
Oh,
house, the Jane Reed's house, is that up there, and yeah, like I I I I think that Gettysburg, like I'm interested in Gettysburg because of the war, and that.
and I think others should be interested in Gettysburg. Just,
Yeah,
I mean, it was a really
tough time,
tough time for our United States and something that may not be taught as much in the schools
yeah,
now, but to actually go there and see and walk the grounds and
yeah.
imagine that, I mean, hand to hand, I mean, it was a bloody war.
That's why that's why like it's one thing to read about things, but it's another thing to actually I always say like it's very it's interesting to think that these people in the past had the same feelings that we did. They have the same fears, hopes, dreams, loves, apprehensions. It's interesting, and also it makes you realize that our lives are not all that all our lives are not all that bad. Consider that some people in the like going back to Seattle, like to to uh the thing that these people got hanged for no reason at all.
Yes.
You know, like, and Gettysburg, brothers, brothers against brothers. How would you like to be a parent who had one son on the south and one son on the north? Like it must have been it must be heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's what I agree with you, Tom, too. That just when you think about those stories, and it wasn't uncommon for one brother to
Yeah,
fight for one side and one brother to go to
yes,
the other side. And as a parent, you're kind of stuck in that middle. Your heart would just be breaking.
yeah,
And just, it was very brutal. We didn't have even anything close to the health
yeah,
care or people that even knew how to fix you
and
up.
and like the I just the medical conditions were they didn't have anesthesia. You know,
Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
And like you said, they had the same feelings that we did. They wanted
yeah,
to just go have a life, raise a family maybe, or just, but this tension, this that drove them to this, it worries me because you see that a little bit bubbling today. And if we don't understand what happened in the past,
yeah.
what's to say it wouldn't happen again?
Yeah. And in fact, in fact, uh, Jenny Reed, Jenny Reed that morning, she said out loud, if anyone, because she was taking care of her sister. She was
Oh,
taking care of her
okay.
sister, and the sister just gave birth. So
Oh,
so that morning she said, if anyone's going to die today, please let it be me.
really? Yeah, these stories are just
Yeah,
incredible. And same thing with Salem. I
yeah,
walked through the graveyard and you see that these young women, I mean, it could have been any one of us that
yeah,
someone
exactly.
just looked like you, maybe they thought you were
yeah.
doing something or thinking something or saying you said something wrong, and to be hung like that.
Bridget, Bridget Bishop was was trifling, but she was a she didn't adhere to the norm of everyday society. She she owned she owned she owned two taverns.
Oh,
She she dressed rather provocative. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So she didn't adhere to the norm of society. No.
I know. But does that make her a witch? I
Yeah,
don't, it's terrible, right? That people kind of got all riled up for the wrong reasons and took
yeah,
someone's
yeah,
innocent life. And I imagine this is what makes these souls and spirits
yeah,
kind of stuck here in this
yeah, yeah.
place.
In fact, I was watching a YouTube video on Bridget Bishop, and this woman contacted her, right? And she said the spirit of Bridget Bishop was supposed to say that she's sad. She's very sad. Yeah,
It is. It's very sad when you walk through those places. But in order to have those experiences, you kind of need it to be quiet. And have you ever personally felt an experience with someone otherworldly?
unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, but yeah, yeah. Like I said before, history makes you realize that our lives are not as bad as we think we is. Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've never had an experience myself, but you brought up Gettysburg, and my mother, which she didn't often talk about, when she went to Gettysburg, she was walking. I don't know if she was part of a little tour group, and they went into a place or they were standing somewhere, and she asked something of the guide, like, did something happen here? Because she just felt something, and she did have that, like, second, third, I don't know what you call that extra sense. Some people are just more sensitive to
yeah,
these things we can't see.
yeah, yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about Savannah. That's just a fascinating.
Savannah, Savannah is a great place. It combines the civil and the revolution. It has connections to both. It has connections to both. Uh, and uh, and Savannah is supposed to be very haunted too. In fact, I just wrote a piece. I just wrote an article about it, and like supposedly when you walk through Savannah, you're walking on the dead. The people literally are buried underground in Savannah.
Hmm.
Yes, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
as we know, as well with the Civil War, I mean, there may be places, even Native Americans,
yeah,
we're not always aware where people were
yeah,
buried, and the
yeah.
city comes along and decides. We're hearing stories like that all the time where they decide they need to build a new building, they dig down, they find bones. And
And that's what I'm hoping to that's what I'm hoping to that's why I'm hoping to teach I'm hoping to I'm hoping to teach if this makes sense. I'm hoping to teach people with through tours about the past. Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I think that's important. Like you said, it's more than just a pretty place. Like you mentioned
yeah,
Savannah, the architecture is stunning, but there's more to that city, and
yeah,
the fact that it was revolutionary and the Civil War. I mean, that's a
yeah,
lot of, and who
yeah,
knows before that, because Savannah, doesn't it sit on the water on the ocean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, I do know that Savannah, someone had told me too, the way they laid it out, because there was like a
yeah,
barracks or base there or
yeah,
something, and
yeah.
so that's what originally laid out
Yeah.
where the homes were built.
It's laid out in it's laid out in squares.
Yes. And then just outside of Savannah, and a lot of these places too, the rivers were actually the highways. So you had a
Yeah,
different way of moving goods from place
yeah,
to place.
yes. Mm,
So think about all the, travelers maybe coming from other countries that may have landed on the shores of Savannah. So you have different influence of cultures and foods
mm,
and the things that go on when things,
yeah,
life is life, things happen, unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. Well, I said, I said before, like this, I think it's very awesome that to think that the people from the past had the same, like I said, had the same emotion that we did. No, had the same. The mothers had the same fears.
Right.
Fathers had this. Father wanted the best for the children. Yeah,
Right. Those things haven't changed. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah,
And they just exactly they same they had same dreams of maybe going somewhere or meeting someone or
mhm,
and unfortunately life happens that doesn't
yeah,
things that like these wars that
yeah,
weren't out of the ordinary.
yeah. Mhm.
So when you're planning tours for people, are there things that you suggest for people that want to include more history? Are there ways they can incorporate more history into their travels?
Well, I would recommend, like as a travel advisor, I would recommend the history aspect of the thing, and I would explain to them that, and I would explain that ghosts are history.
Yeah.
That ghosts are history. You can't have, and history and his if history teaches us, if history is a teacher, then who are the teach then who are the less teachers. You know
Hmm.
spirits, the spirits of the past. you know
Right.
Mm,
I think that is important. And finding maybe books or individuals that played into these roles, I think is important too. I know as a kid, I loved it made such a difference when you actually went to the place, like you
yeah,
mentioned earlier. It's totally different than, at least for me, it's hard sometimes to read the whole book and really make sense of it. But when you go to Gettysburg, which, like I said, I have not been to yet, but my mother said, it's just these miles and miles, and you realize how big an
yeah,
area it was. And if you can picture all the people and, they're standing face to face. We're not, like you said, you may see your brother, you may see your,
and and also just think that Gettysburg was just an ordinary town at the time. It was just an ordinary town thrust into the thrust into the thrust in the spotlight of history. You know,
hmm
it's just like it's just like I don't know what it's just like if I live in New Jersey, just like if the town we live in, if something happened here, just like and and it's just like the town that I live in, if it got thrust into history.
yes, yeah.
It's like
So what other cities would you recommend for people that might want to seek out
uh,
history or
uh,
ghosts? I'm sure you have some that you
yeah,
like.
yeah. Well, I just I would like I would love to go to New Orleans.
Oh, yes.
And in fact, Amtrak Vacation has a 3 hour train trip to New Orleans. Yeah,
Oh, do they? Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So, yeah. And well, then there is Bo- Boston, Boston, another one, like another one. Yeah, with the revolution. Yeah, like yeah,
Yeah, New Orleans. You'll have to
no,
have you been there yet?
no, not yet.
You're
I would,
gonna,
no, I would like to go on. I would like to go on. I would like to go. I would like to go to New Orleans, and also, there is through American Queen Voyagers.
oh yeah.
They take you. They take you. They take you through the rivers of the United States, and like you learn about the history of like like if you like you can go down the Mississippi and learn the history of the Mississippi or Alaska, or Boston, you know.
Yeah, it's Yeah, it is American Queen. We'll have to put that in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
notes
American Queen, yeah, yeah,
and put a
American,
link to your website too,
yeah, yeah,
because that is a good one. And it goes up the Mississippi River, and I think it stops at a lot of these
yeah,
old river towns.
yeah. It also that also goes to New Orleans.
Oh,
And
does it?
yeah. And there's one of the voyages that goes to Alaska. That sounds good.
Yeah,
Alaska.
that sounds cool too.
Yeah,
And Alaska, for a lot of people, is still one of these places. It's kind of like the last frontier, you know.
yeah,
It didn't become
yes,
part of the United States until, wasn't it, the 1950s?
yeah, yeah,
So when
yeah,
you think about that, I mean, that was for many of us in our parents' or
yeah,
grandparents' time
mm,
frame.
yeah, yeah,
Because prior to that, wasn't it still part of Russia? Am I right?
yes, yes, yeah, yes.
So that's a fascinating part of history too. What are some questions you get for people that are planning to take a trip? What are things they ask you?
Take a trip. Well, well, I just started. I haven't gotten many questions. I just started the Ghost of the Past.
Oh, good.
Uh, my uh my 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 the name of my travel in August of last year. So
Oh, it's new. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Well, that's exciting that you're doing something that you
yes,
love
yes,
to share history and helping people plan travel there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that is super exciting. So do you
No,
work with others that have a lot
no,
of his it's
well,
just you?
yeah, I'm the sole owner. I'm the sole. Like I said, I partner with American Queen, the American Queen
Okay.
Voyager. I Amtrak Vacation.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
and there was like and then for a day tour I the ex I think it's called the Expedition. It's a partner. It's a partner who hooks clients up with day day trips. Yeah,
Oh,
which
nice.
is good. Yeah, yeah,
Right, so then you can connect people with like a person that would take
yeah,
them around that city for just the day
yeah,
if they're just
yes,
wanting. Oh,
yes,
that's wonderful. Because I
yeah,
think especially like if you do, I always recommend to people if you want to learn more about a place,
yeah,
even if you've taken all the notes and read a lot, if you're walking with someone like
yeah,
in Savannah or even Charleston's another historic city that someone might pair with Savannah, and you might get that question too. If you have a guide going with you, they're telling these stories and
I would highly recommend the if you're new to the city, the first thing you do is take the hop off tours. Huh? That's a great place to get acquainted with the city, and then go from there.
that's an excellent tip. And a lot of times those hop on, hop off buses aren't very expensive
No,
either.
no,
And they let you ride around and then you
yeah,
can see where,
yes,
kind of get the lay of the land.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, especially if you're in a new city.
Mm.
Um, how many days do you think people should spend on Gettysburg itself? Because there's, besides
Well,
Gettysburg, if you were really going to do that kind of a Civil War thing, you could really spend.
yeah, well, I watched your video that you sent about repetitive travel.
Yes,
And yeah, yeah. I think that's a good point that there is so much to see. You can't see it all. You can't see it all in a single trip here. But
no.
I would recommend at least maybe 3 4 days if you start if you want to start if you want to start somewhere 3 or 4 days, and then take it from there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip because it's hard to really pack in too much in one day, especially now with travel. I mean, we're going to see, I think this summer, just more people traveling.
Yeah.
You're going to need to slow down, and you do get more out of just slowing down a little bit and taking a walking tour, really see the city.
If you try if you try to get everything in on a couple days, you're not gonna see anything, Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you're just checking off boxes and
yeah, yeah,
getting one photo, but you're not really going to experience it.
yeah.
I totally agree. And I think for a lot of us, like you're on the East Coast, so you might be a little bit more comfortable, at least people that live in cities with public transportation. But on West Coast and Midwest, we're so used to driving. And I always
Yeah,
tell people get out of your car if you're in a city like Savannah. Really
yeah.
walk and slow down, and you'll see so much more.
That's why I like this. That's why I like those places. But it's walkable, And see, I don't like I don't feel comfortable on public transit, and I don't like to drive. So walking my favorite mode of transportation, and yeah,
Yeah. And it does, it lets you slow down. You observe a lot more of the details of the
yeah,
buildings. You can kind of put yourself, step back, especially if you're into history or ghosts,
yes,
especially
yeah,
if you're passing by, you're not going to have any
yeah,
encounters, I don't
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah.
So what's next? You mentioned you'd like to do the Mississippi cruise.
For Amtrak New Orleans cruise, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
highly recommend those. Are there's a particular time you would go to New Orleans that you would recommend for people?
New Orleans, well, like New Orleans probably like February, March. Savannah, I would recommend the fall, the fall, in the fall, in the spring or fall, because it gets hot and it gets hot now. You know, you know, it gets hot in the summer.
Yeah.
Salem, like I said, maybe March, April, a bit October is too much. And Gettysburg, the same thing. The Gettysburg, I, the battle took place on July 1st and 3rd, but like again, it might be too crowded up there. It might be too crowded at that time. So Gettysburg, like you have to see with these historic places, you have to you have to figure out the, but the on the anniversary of these on the anniversaries of these
Oh,
on the anniversary of these sites, it probably gets so crowded that everyone wants to go there that day. But yeah, but like if you really want to see something, you really want to go there, go when I would recommend go when the crowds are not there.
yes. Yeah, I agree. Go in the off season.
Yeah,
Like ask, like they can reach out to you and you can look and see like
yeah,
if the weather's not like early November, some places it's still not snowing. It's just cold
yeah,
and quieter, but there's
yeah,
equally then less people. The kids are back in school, so it's a good time to have more of the quiet if you're really seeking to,
yeah,
have an experience or see a ghost or experience that side of history.
yeah,
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 completely.
yeah.
So what's your website again? It's ghosts.
Paranormal and macabre.com.
That's right, paranormalandmacabre.com. And I will put that in the show
and
notes.
and the paranormal and the macabre.com. Yeah.
Paranormalandthemacabre.com. And if they have questions, there's a contact form. They can
Yes.
email you or
Yes.
give you a call.
Yes.
Perfect. And I love the idea that you're working with Amtrak
Mm,
and the cruise line because that takes away a lot of like concern for people that, you don't
yeah.
have to think about driving.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
help connect them with the
Yes.
train
Yes.
and make it easy.
Yes. I like the reason why I chose Amtrak is that flying. I never liked flying myself. Like like right now that I understand that the airports are chaotic. Yeah.
Yes.
The airports are so chaotic. So hey, Amtrak, like I've traveled Amtrak a few times, I quite often, and like you just sit back and
Yes.
you enjoy the scenery,
Right. I do too. I think Amtrak, I've taken it a couple times. It's a lot more relaxed.
yeah,
You don't feel that whole like
yeah,
bustling through the airport. You can keep your bag with you or there's a place overhead.
yeah,
You had bathrooms right there, and the bathrooms were large and comfortable
Yes.
on the train I was on. It wasn't those little
Yeah.
squish yourself in. It just was a lot. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people need to check out the trains.
Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah. Good. Like yeah. You with airplane you can get there in 2 hours, but like my father said, he would rather sit back and enjoy. He would rather sit back and enjoy the scenery and relax and enjoy.
Yeah, make it part of the journey.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's great. So thanks, Tom. And I will put the website so if people want to take some trips into history in the past, they should
Right.
definitely reach out to you. And now is a great time to plan for fall. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people need to plan ahead. Kids go back to school in like September. So
It's
there's
yeah.
lots of great places to go in September.
Like I said, I think the fall would be great for Savannah.
Oh, yes.
It's not too hot here. It's not that hot here. Mm,
Yeah, I do too. I think Savannah in September would be lovely because it does get very humid in Savannah and hot.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like maybe around late October and early November goes Savannah. Yeah, that would be a good time to go.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
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 So reach out to Tom. His website again is
Yeah.
paranormalandthemacabre.com. And I will
Mhm.
put that in the show notes for anyone to ask questions. And I know Tom's read a lot about history, so he's the one to reach out to if you have questions and to help you book that Amtrak journey or check out the Mississippi cruise. I think those both sound amazing. So thank you, Tom.
You're welcome. Right. You're welcome. That is.